Welcome to the Real Dad Podcast. I'm Dave.
I'm Mark.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Brian. Let's dad, everyone.
Yes. We're in the booth, and the two blue shirts guys, Aiden and Aaron, literally just closed the door as the song rang. We had them come to our shop today to help us set up some cameras, some lighting, so that we can get this onto video. It is a huge goal for us this year to be able to have video so that we can start putting some of these out into the world so people can see it. And then if you are enjoying listening to us, then we hope you would also enjoy watching us, because we're going to start uploading them to YouTube. We'll have some clips here and there, so that way you can easily share them with your friend, because you're having a hard time sharing them. So we need to make it
easier for you.
For you to share these.
Hey, it's easy to share clips. We all throw TikToks around like they're nothing. So just throw us around like we're nothing.
Right. Also, we've got one problem that I've started to notice, and that is that only 9% of our listeners are following us or have clicked the subscribe button on Spotify. So there's a lot of people that are listening, but they haven't actually clicked that follow button on Spotify or subscribe, however you do on different things.
To your podcast?
I'm Spotify. And
What?
I think most of
You're
ours
an Apple
are.
guy.
100%. Who doesn't have an iPhone?
Well,
Yeah, but Spotify.
I think we
There's
have like a
ads.
family
I'm just-
Spotify thing. Like
Ads.
I'm just on
know.
Spotify all the time. I don't have ads.
We have a Spotify account.
Yeah,
Who has a Spotify account?
we do.
I do.
I do.
we've got like a Spotify family account.
Amongst whom?
The
I'm
three of
part
us.
this-
It just does
one.
not you. No, we don't share one with Brian, but we have one with Joy and Dave.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Works
That's
well.
the best
also,
money I spend, I
Spotify
think.
does video now. So
Yeah, I heard that as well.
It's pretty neat.
But I pay for YouTube, and I refuse to pay for any other
That's fair.
service because I watch a ton of YouTube.
Yeah,
That's fair. So we'll be there too. So share us on YouTube, share us on Spotify.
So okay,
Apple.
so have you guys, while Dave does his research apparently on his phone, super rude to do, by the way, while
100%.
we're recording.
You said I was
Great
curious
content.
to see who.
We're trying to
Has
dad over
anybody heard of this
platform?
Toka game?
Tokapoka.
never.
Okay, so my daughter is obsessed with this Toka game, and it's on your iPad, device, whatever. And essentially, it's just design. So it's like these virtual little worlds. You go in, and it's free to play. But in order to build a house and then design that house, you have to pay for it. But these geniuses, it's like $2.94.
Right.
So I'm like, you can't even get a coffee for that much.
Easy peasy.
So I've set it up now with a cheat code where we have this thing where it's like, you have to do something nice for somebody every single day.
Okay.
So then that's the question. No longer like, how was your day? It
Okay.
was, what'd you do nice for somebody today? And then we hear these conversations. So I say, if you can nail the 4 or 5 days, because nobody's perfect, then I'll get you a Toka every week.
Ooh.
And it's been like, we're like 7-8 weeks strong with this Toka, and I'm just
Dialed
like
in.
blackmailing the shit out of my kid to be a good person.
It's reward based. I
Right?
think I'm getting on board with this. We tried this last month, and I talked about it on the cast where we did the strike system for the reward at the end of the month.
Yeah.
I think it worked out pretty well. The kids navigated it very well, I think.
Okay.
The behavior was pretty good. The behavior has gone to shit since stopping that.
Interesting.
So we kind of went back to like consequence based, and it is not. My kids do not respond well to that style of parenting. I guess.
Wait, when you said strike, you mean like you strike them, like you hit them?
I was gonna make a lot of jokes. No, I did not strike my kids.
Because the silence was loud there for a second.
I wanted to make jokes, but that's not something you want to joke about. So
Right.
no, it's just strikes on a board. So we did a big board. They had 40 strikes for the month. If they filled it up, they weren't going to get to go to the aquarium.
Got you.
Now, thankfully, they didn't fill up the board. They did fantastic. They probably only ended up with like 11 strikes out of the 40, and most of those were in the first weekend. So once they kind of got the system, I think their behaviors were fantastic for the rest of that month. Now, since then, we've gone back to more like timeouts or consequences of losing TV or dessert or whatever. And yeah, the behaviors have kind of ramped back up again. So I think I'm on board with this reward based. Give them a goal to set on. So
It's
that
like
they
an
can clean up their-
allowance.
Yeah.
Like when we were growing up, we had an allowance. And my brother and I, they did it strategically because Blockbuster was like in its prime.
Yep.
So $250, I got $250 for a week. $2.50, not $250, which is probably equal to the same amount of money if you carry the two. So I got $2.50. My brother got $2.50. And then you go to Blockbuster, you get a video game and then a movie and a bag of chips and a bottle of pop.
You wouldn't get all that for $2.50.
No, for $5.
Okay, sorry, blacked
we
out.
would put it together.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And so
Still, great deal.
was a deal.
hence why I don't like sharing Doritos, because like that's my thing.
Yep.
So I used to get the movie Ghost Dad like every week. Did you ever watch that?
Dad.
Bill Cosby.
No.
Yeah,
No.
10 out of 10 recommend. I've seen it 100,000
I
times.
think he's canceled now.
Yeah,
Can't say
yeah.
Bill Cosby anymore.
No, no.
Sorry.
Okay.
Well, it might have been a good movie.
It was. I loved it.
Ghost Dad.
Ghost Dad, and then my brother would get a video game. I'd watch Ghost Dad, and then I'd watch my brother play video games.
Nice.
That was my Saturday
Blockbuster, man.
nights, Sunday morning.
That was Friday
But the
for
goal
us.
of working
Totally.
for your allowance.
Yes.
right.
So do you think that if that was a big thing in your life, do you think that that has caused you to be more goal oriented now, where you base your achievements based on the goals that you hit and the goals that you set? Because that would be my only thought with like the potential dangers of a goal based system being
Yeah.
the only thing, is that if you get too rooted in goals being the only way that you think you're doing well, or that you're
Behaving.
yeah.
But I think it teaches more good than it has the potential to be bad. Like I think the lesson there is that like sometimes you're just gonna lose. You
Right.
know?
If you don't make it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
You have to stick to that. I think that's the key to that system. You can't just like give in and be like,
Yeah, but I give in all the time because
Okay.
I'm like, I can't handle this. Like, my wife just went away for work and stayed overnight somewhere. Like, I'm coming off of that hellfire right now.
Very good.
And she, like, last night she was gone away, and my kids are like, well, what do we want to do? And I just throw the routine right out the window.
Yeah.
Classic.
Oh yeah.
So then we get there, and I'm like, they're like, we want to play outside. And like, my wife would be like, absolutely not. We're cooking dinner, and then we're getting into like routine time. And I'm just like, okay, let's play outside. What do you guys want for dinner? They're like, craft dinner. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, I can make craft dinner. Check.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So then by the time we get on through all this stuff, it's now 8 o'clock. They're damn near should be asleep by now, but I'm just starting the bath. Right. And so anyways, I'm trying to get them away from the table and into the bath. And my son's like, this craft dinner doesn't taste the way that mom makes it. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry. He's like, when's mom coming home? And I'm like, well, tomorrow, because she's staying overnight. He's like, why is she staying overnight? Because she works. He's like, you're supposed to stay overnight and work. And I was like, what?
He's got you
Role
confused.
reversal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally like so pissed off. He's like, mom comes home, you go to work overnight. And I was like,
Sorry,
tell
bro.
her
You're
when
right.
you get home. But it was really cute when she came home. It was like we were all having dinner, and so she kind of like snuck in the back door and like walked around the corner, and then he was talking about her, so she could like hear him talking
cute.
about her, and he was like, his back was to her,
Right.
so he couldn't see her, and then I was like, oh, that's so cool, and then I'm like, what's that over there? And then he like turns around and sees her, and he goes, it's mommy, and he's like, mommy. It clued in, and then he went
That's
ran to her.
special
It's
though,
like,
because he's been a huge daddy's boy. You said he's been
Totally,
like
yeah.
stuck to your leg forever.
Totally,
So
yeah.
that must have been big for your wife to be
Yeah.
able to get that reaction and be like, okay, he does love me.
Totally, yeah. Because she was like, I don't like to tell her when she's away that the kids miss her.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it like I know it affects her.
Yeah.
So I downplay how much that like how upset they are.
Right.
So she'll be like, "Oh, how are the kids?" I'm like, "They're great." I'm like, and then meanwhile she's like, "Oh, I miss my mom. I just want to see my mom." But, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I kind of like withhold that information till she comes home. But when my son saw her, he just like lit up. But the beauty about this was my wife doesn't like to drive, and she was like way up north for this like work thing. So when she comes back, now it's like 7 o'clock at night. She's exhausted. She just worked all day, and
Yeah.
then she gets home. And then now the kids are all excited to see her because she hasn't been over the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there being like, yeah, it sucks.
This is what
Welcome to night shift, babe. You get home from work and you just gotta put it back on. I don't know what that's like at all. Bath time's on you though. Bye. And we just kind of relayed and handed off, and I was Audi 3000.
It is a good point though. Like
I
how
was
often
loving it. I was like loving it. So good. Where she was like, yeah, you could tell she was struggling. She's like, I'm so tired. I was like, it's so much fun. welcome.
Welcome. And it is interesting because, like, how often do we get those
A day in the life of.
those switchovers, right? Where you're doing the other person's role, or you're going kind of like flopping that situation onto the other person, what it's like.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, there's this TikTok where like the woman or like this wife is just like, shut the fuck up. She always like responds to videos. She's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like, if I could just go back in time to the people that fought for us to have equal rights and so that we had to work, I would just sit there and be like, shut the fuck up.
We had it made.
And I was like, it's not as easy as it looks, babe. I'm telling you.
So, like, I find it sometimes, and like I say this with fear in my heart,
Okay. I'm excited for this.
slightly easier to parent when my wife's not home. Like when my wife goes away for a weekend, because it like I'm not having to,
Well, your wife parents you.
but I'm not having to like make decisions that she's gonna be happy with. I can
Totally.
just make my own decisions.
Yeah.
So like even food is like a very hard topic in our house. In that,
Dude, I think it's everywhere.
I just don't care. Like I would eat like
Same.
eggs every night for dinner, or like I would just have some toast with peanut butter on it. I'm simple, but I would be in awful shape and I would not take good care of. So
Right.
like the fact that my wife cooks us good meals is very important to our life.
Right.
But I don't care that much about what I eat, but to her she cares a lot more about, and she
Right.
needs to care a lot more about what she eats. So when she's not there, it's just easy. Like I don't, if I want to order pizza, I just order pizza. If I want to go to McDonald's, we go to McDonald's. If I
Right.
want to like make pancakes and eggs for dinner, we make pancakes and eggs. And I'm not having to like, hey, are you okay with this? And then wait for the like 10-minute pause of,
Oh my God.
what are you like? Are you okay or not? Like, what are we doing here? And then even just like with bedtime or the things that we do, like and this is kind of carried over now that my wife's back, is that we've kind of been a lot more lenient with like strict bedtime times and stuff, where for a long time with our kids, we had that bedtime routine. And even when they were babies, we had like the sleep schedules and all that. So we were very stuck in when bedtime should be. And my wife was trying to get the kids to bed, and I was realizing, I was just like, when you're not here, this is easier, but it's easier because I don't care about this specific time that they're in their bed by.
Yeah.
And we were just I'm more easygoing with it. So we've been kind of carrying that over now. The kids go to bed much later. It hasn't affected them the next days. Like, it's not like they're cranky and everything because of it. Sure, maybe if they stay up too late one night, then you're going to get that. But that's just general exhaustion from kids to begin with, whether they've been running and playing at school or what that's going on. But it's been easier bedtimes because you're not having to be like, get in your bed, like brush your teeth, do this now. There gets to a point when like the kids are dragging it out, and it's like, okay. But the downside to it is we're not getting the same time after bedtime that we would normally get. But it's hard because our oldest is 11 turning 12, so like his bedtime shouldn't be whatever 7, 8 o'clock, right? So he's getting to stay up later, but it's harder to put the other ones down first. So then everybody just kind of gets to stay up now.
Yeah, I have found like I have learned to appreciate how much my wife actually does and polices. And I dread those times where it's like my turn to kind of like manage those expectations, because I'm very similar to that, where I don't care, where I'm just like, okay, like if we're going to go to bed, we're going to go to bed. But then you like learn to appreciate the structure and how much emphasis they tend to put on structure and routine and how important it is. Because even if I didn't have my wife, I would never go to bed early. I would go to bed. I would stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just doom scrolling until my eyes get too heavy. But she is very much like, my routine starts now, and then she builds it up, and I only go to bed because she's going there, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I'm very similar in that aspect. But when we just went wedding venue shopping.
Okay.
Shopping? Is it called shopping?
Sure, I guess so.
Searching.
Searching. And I I'm trying to say this without getting in trouble.
Good
'Cause
call.
My friggin' neighbor listens to this now, so he's going to rat me out at the bus stop.
Or he won't. That's the part of
Yeah.
the dad code. We'll see
Absolutely.
how he
Yeah.
Howie,
abides
keep
by
your
it.
damn mouth shut.
Yeah, Howie.
Friggin' Howie.
Fucker.
No, he's actually a great guy.
We're
Okay,
coming in
he's-
hot.
all right.
I love
Doesn't
you,
I didn't
Howie.
know yet. I didn't
Doesn't
know
deserve that at
Right.
all. So you're a big piece of shit for that,
Okay.
Dave.
Love you, Howie.
Yeah, thank. That's better energy. That's better energy, Brian.
Let's have more of that.
Just keep your mouth shut.
If you know what's good for you.
Anyways,
Mark with his switchblade at the
Yeah.
bus stop.
no, I checked his pocket. Howie's got one too. Howie's got one too.
Attaboy.
Anyways, where was I going before I just started shit talking my neighbor?
You were about to shit talk your wife, I believe.
Yeah. You were venue shopping.
Yes.
So I was in a mood.
Okay.
And I don't know why.
Were you feeling sassy?
Well, I was feeling something. I can
Okay.
tell you that. And my wife was like, just so happy.
Okay.
And I think I was like, I'm doing this for her. I want nothing to do with this bill. Like I want nothing to do with the bill of this venue that we're going to see, which was beautiful, but I don't think it's going to work out. So, anyways, we get there. She's like, I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry, and we have like an hour. We have 2 hours to get there, and it's an hour and 40 minutes. Okay, so I was like, we have 20 minutes. Says the GPS. We can totally stop somewhere and get something to eat. It's better to get it now than to go to this thing when you're already hungry and you're gonna hate you're gonna hate it regardless because you're hungry. She's like, no, we'll just get something when we're there. We get there, that's not an option. Yeah. So now she's miserable, and she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I was like, in my head, this is the conversation I have with myself. I was like, do you want to do this, or this? She goes, no. I was like, you are complicating that. You are the most complicated. You're complicating the system like beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Because if it was just me in the car right now, I would turn off to any one of these fast food chains, stuff my face full of grease, and just be on with my day. Yeah. But she's so worried about, this is going to hurt my stomach, and this is going to hurt my stomach. You know what's really going to hurt your stomach? Starvation. That's what's going to hurt your stomach. So just shove it in there. Anyways, I didn't say that.
That was smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now Howie's going to know that I said it, so I'm trusting you here, buddy. I'm
You said in
trusting
your own
you.
head. You
It's
can't be held
true, and
accountable for that.
I try to have like sympathy for my wife in that, but my frustration overpowers it usually.
Totally.
Because I'm like, I understand that there are way more complications to the thought process for you to make a decision on what to eat, and I am very lucky that I can just consume something and be okay with it. If it gives me the shits, it gives me the shits. I don't care that much because I'm gonna be there anyways.
Totally.
But as
Are we
far
just
as-
that more used to having the shits as guys? Like, is that a thing?
I think,
No, but I think
I
it's
never
just-
think about that.
But I also
it's-
think, but I've also I was never raised having to worry about what I eat, where a lot of women are raised with like, are you sure you want to eat that kind of culture, right?
Ooh,
of
I
like,
never thought about that.
and I know for
I
my
just want
wife
to punch
that
that
is
person
like
in the face.
something big for her, and even something that she's been trying to help her mom through, who like kind of instigated some of that issue for her, and who like her mom still has that problem, and like, who are you trying to impress right now with how you look like? So I know
74
that
years
like
old.
women in general have a lot more complications because of who they are in this world and society. So I try to have patience.
But it's tough to not get
But
frustrated.
it's just like, just pick anything. Like I will drive an hour to pick up food if that's the thing that you want. Like I just don't want to make a decision. Cool, I'll order pizza.
Oh my God,
Except for
that's the
pizza.
most
no.
frustrating
All right.
sentence. That's the
Go
most
pick up a
frustrating.
sub. No, we can't pick up
That's
subs.
it.
Like, all right, 2 no's, I'm out. I'm out now. You make your mind up.
Nothing. Yeah,
I think 2 is the limit.
I don't know. I don't know what I feel like. I'm like, no, I hear you. I hear you. You want Chinese? No. You want butter chicken? No. You want subs? No. Pizza? No. Tacos? No. You want me to call my mom and ask her to make us a fucking meatloaf right now? No, we had that last night. Fuck!
Do you ever just order your own thing?
I've never done that.
No, I've done that before.
My wife
I just
has
gave
because she's
that's
ordered
an
her
alpha.
own thing.
That's an alpha move right there.
You've done it?
Yeah, I've done it. Well, but it's not a big deal. It's like, all right, well, if you don't know what you want, I'm gonna order this. And if you don't
That's
want,
a big deal.
If you don't want anything from there, that's fine. but
I'm
you can
hungry.
order. Yeah, I'm gonna order this, and she'll be like, okay,
What do you do when the food arrives? You eat it
yeah.
in front of her?
Well, by then she'll have her own thing. Or
Do you make eye contact?
she doesn't want
She
what I've
doesn't care?
ordered because
Yeah.
I've already offered it to her. So
Wow. I've never thought I could do that.
Neither.
You just unlocked something for these two.
That's never crossed my mind. I've gone so hungry before. just waiting because I'm the type
Try
of
that.
person. Like, no, don't do it. That's a trap. That's a that's a trap. Don't do that.
He's for sure never done that before. He just wants to see it play out.
He wants to do it. He wants to do it, and he's waiting to see if other people have done it so he can throw us under the
it's
bus.
usually because I'm craving something and I really want that, and so I'm not willing to sacrifice not getting it for whatever she wants. So
That's fair.
It's like if you want your
that's
thing,
alpha.
that's fine. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get this. So
That's alpha right there.
usually it's like ramen because I love ramen. So I'll order that and then she'll just do her own thing. But
See, I'm the type of person that's like, if I'm hungry, I'm peanut butter and jelly sandwich till I'm blue in the face.
Yeah.
I don't care what time of day it is. I don't
Right.
care anything.
I would eat it as like a pregame meal. Even.
Totally.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna eat this now.
That's my bedtime
so that I don't
snack.
get angry with you.
Yeah.
But then
100%.
once you make your decision, just include me in that.
But then by the time now you've digested, your anger is now gone, and now when I'm in that situation, I forget why she's so angry.
What is going
So
on
I'm like,
right now?
what is your problem? Like, what? Where did we go wrong here? I'm just
'Cause you're
like,
fed.
She's like, I'm starving, and I was like, wait, you haven't eaten yet? She's like, no, you asshole, you made the peanut. I was like, yeah, but I offered if you wanted some.
Yeah.
That's not good enough. So it's like I would love to know what it feels like. There's two things. I'm sure she would love to know what it feels like for us to just be all willy nilly about it. But I would also love to know, where, what, in what world is it okay to starve everyone else just for your own happiness?
But it's not even for their own happiness. It's going
That's
through the
true.
anxiety of
is
fooding.
true.
I will say that it rarely happens in our house because 95% of the time Maddie's cooking something for dinner and I will devour whatever she makes because it's always delicious. So
Yeah, it's
this
nice
is a
to-
rare occurrence.
Okay, cool.
I'm not saying this is like a weekly.
Yeah, so we have a different kind of setup in our house because Meg's is directly linked to food anxiety. And I've known that since we got
Interesting.
together. When I met her, she was an extremely picky eater and she had allergy issues with like fruits and vegetables, literally. So thankfully, she was able to see a naturopath and deal with a lot of that. But she has a ton of food anxiety. And she's been very open with that with me right out of the gate. So I know that that's the link. So it makes it very easy for me to be more
Right.
Understanding.
understanding about it. But yeah,
Is it easier, or do
I'd
you
say
just
it
kind of
is easier.
label it? Like, it's still frustrating though, I'm sure.
And honestly, it's not something that we run into a ton. I think I've
so
just learned how to
jealous.
navigate it with her because of that.
Gotcha.
Where we just kind of have the 3 suggestions, and it makes it easy because Meg's Meg. Like she's got a very
pretty simple.
small Rolodex of the things
Yeah.
that she will eat. So typically, when it comes down to it, I'm like, all right, we're doing Boston pizza, we're doing East Side Mario's, we're doing Swiss Chalet. Like, you pick.
Yeah.
And then the odd time we'll throw in sushi or whatever else. Like she's learned to eat a lot more things, but she will typically just. She doesn't want to deal with the anxiety of it, so she would much rather me be like, all right, it's this, or this.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we'll do that. Perfect. And then I'll order it.
It's so crazy because like the whole stomach thing, like with my wife, she'd be like, "Oh, this is gonna hurt my stomach," or "This is gonna hurt my stomach," and she's like, she thinks she's like, "I'm lactose intolerant," and then the next time I talk to her, it's like, "I think I have a gluten intolerance," and then I'm like, "I'm the one with ADHD here. You can't. We both can't do this. We need to pick a lane
Going
and
around in
stay in
circles.
it." And like I have IBS, but I just live off of Pepto, so that's
Right.
like I find a fix for it and I go for it.
Right.
Whereas I don't like to live in shit and stew in it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just the real problem is with our kids because we were raised totally different in terms of like eating habits.
Yeah.
So I have a very difficult time when like my kids get like candy and like all that stuff because I was kind of like it was just never an option in my house. So I'm like super, super sensitive about like how much sugar intake they get. And I'm like, that's where I think we kind of have a problem.
Right.
Not a problem. I wouldn't say a problem because I haven't made it a problem yet.
Right.
But I always kind of like throw these little jabs. Like I don't want my kids to have diabetes. Like I just I don't want them.
butt
to.
heads
So
on
did you
that.
not
You
have a
would
lot
judge
of
me
sugar?
so hard.
Totally. I do judge you. I've seen you smash some, and I've kept my mouth shut because I'm just like.
Did you not have sugar because like of health reasons when you were kids, or because of like financially your parents just wouldn't buy it for you, kind of thing?
No, I've just. If I look back, we didn't eat healthy. Like we ate out a lot.
Right.
But like my dad has type 2 diabetes, and like it's all just been, and I've just, when I was younger, I was overweight, and my brothers used to throw hockey sticks at me and play Spear the Whale. So I've always been self-conscious about what I have eaten.
Right.
There was a little bit in high school there where I was like a little bit of anorexic, where I just wouldn't eat anything. I'd have one meal in the middle of the day and I wouldn't eat anything else. And so I got really skinny. And then when I got into college, that's when I started like taking care of my nutritional intake and stuff like that. And I valued it very high
Right.
up until the point I had my daughter.
Yeah.
And when once we had my daughter, I wasn't able to be as selfish. I stopped, like I couldn't afford to, eat steak and nuts every day for breakfast.
Right.
So like that whole lifestyle kind of went out the window, and I've just now adopted. I'm like 6 years into this, like just eating whatever you want type of lifestyle. And I think in the back of my head, it's now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not okay with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm over it. I don't like to live that way, but it's not fair to the other people in my household to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice
Every
single day. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's the struggle that I'm kind of going through right now, is because we'll eat dinner and then they'll be like, okay, we're gonna have dessert. And I'm like, dessert is a cookie maybe, but they're just smashing cupcakes and like all this shit. And they're like, Dad, you want some? I'm like, absolutely not. That's not appealing to me whatsoever.
That is a tough struggle. Like that's something that we went through recently as well, where I brought it up with Meg because Dave and I have been listening to that podcast a bunch, but like a few of his have been on health and eating. And
What
I
podcast?
Diary of a CEO.
Oh, you're going to plug it? Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Why not? But yeah, so I brought that up to her that I'd listened to this podcast. I really connected well with what the one guy was saying, and like she, thankfully, we communicate pretty well, and she was like, that is enough to almost throw me into a panic attack about food. The thought of me having my own food schedule separate from what her and the kids have. So I totally connect with that, and that thought of like, you kind of feel stuck, where it's like, I want to do this, but I also know that if I'm doing it all myself. Like I'm doing the grocery shopping. I'm going to have to cook all my own meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which I'm like, okay, like I can kind of wrap my head around that. But then even the thought of that gave her anxiety of like, now it's solely on her to figure out food for her and the kids, where I'll jump in on some of those decisions. So it's a lot to navigate once you have kids.
And that was something with the 75 hard that I'm doing, was like you have to, one of the things within it is having a diet. And that's something that I wasn't okay to do because of that reason exactly, right? Like I'm not going to be able to meal prep and just take care of my own meals and isolate myself from the family. It's not reasonable. So that's why I just chose the not eating past 9 o'clock. So like not snacking late at night. And I've been doing like the intermittent fasting where I just wouldn't have breakfast. So after dinner, I would stop eating and then I'd wait till lunch to eat again. And that has like, I've still been eating all of the foods that I would normally eat. Pizza, burgers, going out for... like to Kelsey's, getting spinach dip, like doing all the things. I haven't been conscious about that. I've been more conscious about the little things that I would normally add to my life. So going through Tim Hortons, and normally I'd grab a donut or something with that, or I'd open the cupboard and see muffins and I'd just grab a muffin, where now instead I'm grabbing like a banana because I'm taking care of my body and doing these workouts. I'm more conscious about what I'm fueling myself with too, and I'm like, I'm trying to stay in a calorie deficit so that I can continue to lose weight. So you're more aware of that deficit as opposed to what the specific foods are that you're eating.
Yeah.
Where normally I would snack the hell out of shit. And
Yeah.
like even like our wives, Joey and my wife went away for a weekend and they came back and they had brought up like snacks. So like there was like a thing of sour keys and chocolate covered almonds in the cupboard. And I was dumping into them. And like we hadn't had that in our cupboard for a long
Right.
time. And it's there, and I'm like just going in, grabbing a handful of chocolate covered almonds. I'm like, damn it, they're so good, and I love them so much. But it wasn't affecting me, which I was also finding was a pretty good, cool thing because
Right.
like I'm doing the 2 workouts a day or exercises a day, and I'm aware of how late, like when I'm stopping eating and when I'm starting eating. So I was still able to have the things that I wanted, but just within a certain time zone, and it was working for me. Like I'm very lucky in that my body works that way, and that it's like I want to lose weight, and the body's like, okay, let's start shedding pounds.
Doesn't always work that way for everyone.
And it's very frustrating for my wife because she's been working out every morning, drops the kids off, and she goes into the gym and exercises, does a bunch of different stuff, and she hasn't seen any progression. So then like she's watching me jump on the scale every day and just like dropping pounds like crazy. And she's like, what the fuck? I've been doing this like every day consistently for so long and there's been no change.
Right.
And to the point where she's going to like, she needs to talk to her doctor about what that is. And I know just bringing that back up about how much women go through a different life than us and how I understand why the food dynamic is so much harder for her. But it's just so easy for me. Right. So then it makes it very frustrating where it's like, let's just get pizza. And she's like, I can't have fucking pizza because of X, Y, and Z. And you're like, I get it. But I really just want pizza right now.
And I think that's what makes it easier for me to not get as frustrated because I've already established that in myself. Like I can step back very easily to see the overarching thing. It's not just this moment and you not being able to make a decision. It's the culmination of your entire life that leads to food being an issue for you every day.
No, see, I need like somebody to like reiterate that message to me every time it happens because every time and she's like having a hard time making a decision, I'm just like, come on, like why is this so hard?
Well, and then I
sit down and talk. I'm like, oh no, that's why it's hard. I get it.
Well, and I wonder if something to challenge you a bit, where like something that could help you with that is maybe the realization that you're lending to it, where it's like part of that anxiety for her. It could be the anxiety of feeling like, oh shit, if I'm not going to make this decision, I know this is going to upset him that this isn't done yet.
Oh,
I don't have the
100%.
decision made yet, right? Where it's like you're almost fueling it in a way.
Because even like
not the main factor,
for Mother's Day, her big thing was she didn't want to have to make a decision about food.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, but then I'm going to make the decisions and you're going to have to just be okay with them. She's like, sure. And I was like, but are you sure you're okay with this? She's like, yep, just anything but pizza. I was like, ah, damn.
That's the problem.
that was going to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I feel so bad for my wife in particular, but now it sounds like Joy too, because before my wife left, she had so much anxiety over this, like food specifically, that she's like, the kids need this, and then I was like, I have packed a lunch before. Like it's totally fine, and it doesn't need to be a hurricane in the morning. Like I'm just gonna do it at nighttime before we go to bed. It's gonna be aces.
Yeah.
I get to the moment, and I'm like, I blacked out. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. What'd she have yesterday? I don't even know. So I'm like waking her up. I'm like, what do you normally take for lunch?
Can we do this in the morning?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what are you talking about? Mom does it in the morning. I'm like, damn it. But she stressed out so much about it that she went grocery shopping and she did this whole grocery shop. She comes home. She's like, okay, there's this, there's that, there's this. And in the moment, I'm like, yes, I have the best wife ever. She's taking care of this. She's done it. This is amazing. Then we fast forward to today and it's like, fuck, it's 5:00. I haven't done the thing yet. I haven't done the thing. I'm like, man, I have to start thinking about dinner at noon if I want to like make sure that this stuff is done. Yeah. But I'm just not engineered that way. So what do? Just order a pizza. So sure enough, she walks in the door and it's like me, her parents, because I called in backup for my 1 day of dad duty, and then our 2 kids, and then we're all sitting around eating pizza. So I can just see the steam like coming out of her nose. But meanwhile, she's like, I already knew that you were going to order like
Right.
whatever. So I was just basically did hurt myself a favor because now we've got food there for
Right.
the next
Set up
couple
for the
of
rest of the
days or
week.
The
whatever.
leftover pizza, right? That's the extra.
No, we've got it down to a science now. There's no more leftover pizza. We order because that shit's expensive, man.
Yeah,
It's true.
it's all expensive.
It's so expensive.
I thought so for Mother's Day, my thing too was I was gonna make her meals, and I thought it would be easier and cheaper to buy the food to do that, but it was way more expensive.
But is that because you were making some crazy elaborate thing?
Well,
like
yeah, but I'm not gonna make her just some shitty meal. Like,
I gotta go to the top.
I made her eggs Benedict in the morning,
Yeah.
and then for
With
lunch,
what on the side?
with like a custom made
bacon.
hollandaise sauce.
Yeah,
from
of course.
scratch. Yeah.
That's insane.
and then we had beef tenderloin for dinner with was like a mushroom. I made a mushroom sauce that was really good. If you're not into mushrooms, you would hate it because it was delicious.
I don't see Brian gloat very often, but I'm liking this. I'm liking this a
Brian
lot.
is he's coming into his
Now
own.
she
So
wants
does
me
she
to-
get upset with you? Because I remember last year when you made her cake, she was like a little upset at how good of a cake you made.
She's over that.
Does she? But like when you make meals like that, does she appreciate it, or
Oh,
is
yeah,
it a little
no,
bit
she-
like a? Oh,
She
do you
appreciates
expect
it.
me
She
to
doesn't
do
like
this
the
every
grocery
day?
bill,
Right.
but that was a whoopsie. She actually purchased the meat for the dinner. I didn't purchase it, so I was in the clear there. But I definitely spent more than probably we were anticipating spending.
Right.
But I'm like, this is just what I'm cooking, so I just bought all the things to make that thing, and that's
Here
how
we
much
are.
it cost. There's no price matching, or
No.
I'm just getting really nice fruits and veg, and I wanted to make something special for her, so
Right.
So you did.
Yeah. You
Made for a
splurged a
special
little. Why not?
Mother's Day.
yeah. It was
Treating your wife on Mother's Day is key.
I dropped the ball on this one.
Oh.
boys.
Uh-oh.
I fucking dropped it.
Mark.
I dropped it big time. So it's like the day before, and I got nothing because So here's the thing. Fuck, I'm in so much trouble over this. Fucking you and Howie, I swear to God. Keep them quiet, okay? We had a Dyson vacuum that was given to us when we first got our first house. Okay? It was a gift. And then the battery crapped the bed, so I got the Amazon one that you can put the DeWalt batteries on it so that you can like swap those in and out. But those batteries are heavier, so when you pull the vacuum tends to fall down. My wife doesn't know how to care for anything that she owns, so she would just lean this thing up against the wall. Poof, falls down, things would smash together. And I protested for months that I wasn't buying a new vacuum. And then she's like, I'm going to use a line of credit. I was like, no, you're not. Take that card away. Now it's in my wallet. You're not using the line of credit for a new vacuum. Take care of your stuff. We're not getting a new vacuum. I've fixed it. It's fine. And then the next time I go see it, it's in shambles. So anyways,
I'll show you it's fine.
Yeah. So she
I
also...
love her to have like a dark web Instagram account of like her just like watch me break this, and she's like going Office Space on this.
We were totally like sabotaging each other's plans like secretly, right? So she's going in and like anyways, so I see this vacuum that is all the rage and it's on sale, so I get the vacuum for her out of nowhere, right? And I was like, okay, here's the vacuum. It's the one that you want. It's this, that, and the other thing, but this is like, that's Mother's Day. She's like, okay. And she's fine with it in that moment. But then we get to Mother's Day and I'm like, fuck, I don't have a card for you.
Right.
And I got to go get a card, and we don't live, like our thing isn't really set up now where it's just like, oop, I'm going to hit up a Shoppers on the way home and grab her a card real quick, sneakily, so she doesn't know. And that's the one thing that I miss about living here is because everything's so accessible, and it was so easy for me to be spontaneous and like, and just kind of like, I'm at the store. I know this is coming up. I'm going to buy a couple candies in the card, and then I'm going to hide it in my truck for a week or whatever. And then you think, but there isn't. I mean, there is that there. We don't live in none of it. But I'm just saying, like, it's not at the forefront because I'm not.
You're not
doing
driving
it
by it every
day or whatever, right? And so the day comes and I'm like, I don't have a card. And the kids have already fucking ruined their surprises at the bus stop on
Right at the
Friday,
gate.
yeah.
thing. So then I was like, I can do like breakfast for you. And she's like, okay. And we get, I'm like, we also don't have anything to make for breakfast.
Did you go to the grocery store, babe?
So, but this is how like I say, so like this is where the guilt comes in because most people with my wife's response, she's like, I just want a Tim Hortons bagel and like a tea. And that's all I want. And most people are like, yes, fuck, I have the best wife ever. But like, I don't feel like she deserves a shitty thing and whatever, right? And then she went and took her mom out for the pedicure. So again, most people are looking at that as like, no, she got to go have a pedicure and whatever. But at the same point in time, I'm like, well, no, she did that for her mom,
Right.
And like, yes, she got the break, but it wasn't like it's not really like kind of what I'm saying. And when we're having the talk, she's basically telling me, she's like, oh no, it's like it's okay, like if you weren't the way that you were every other day of the year, then I think I would have a problem with it.
That's a good point.
But is it a good point,
no,
or
I
is
think
it
it
her
is.
way of trying to make me like not feel like a shitty person for not
bit
kind
of
of
both, probably.
like blowing up the Mother's Day thing?
I don't know. I think she's probably being honest. I don't take her
Yeah.
as somebody who
No.
doesn't give you her real words. So I would take it for truth. And I think that like it does say to who you are, right? Like that you are always considerate of her and doing things for her so
Right.
that she doesn't need one day to explore, like to have this explosion of like all the love that you give in a year in one day, right? It's not as necessary. Where I think some people like that is the only day they get kind of thing,
Right.
where that means a lot
Yeah.
more to them because of that. Yeah, so I don't think she's kind of like giving you a backhand compliment. I think it's honest, like,
And
well,
also
you do
two
a
words.
good job.
Bird feeder.
Well,
Bird
we're there.
Yeah, like you do those things
Right.
already, right? Like,
Yeah.
Also,
And then-
cards are bullshit, so don't worry
No,
about
they
the card.
totally are, and I'm here for you. But normally, if I was in the right headspace, I would get the kids to like prep,
Yeah.
or,
Right.
like make a
Yeah,
card,
yeah.
and like.
oh, well, I
we're-
sent
we're
you guys
very
that
much,
video
like-
of my son.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
like the morning of, I was like, shit, like you didn't make a card for mom, and he's like, no. I'm like, right, you're in grade 6. Like they don't have the grade 6s do crafts
Yeah.
for Mother's Day anymore. Like nuts. Like what do we do? So like quickly go online and find a card for him to be able to like print out and write Happy Mother's Day. He finds one he likes. We did that. But he wasn't happy with that and went over to the video game and created in Minecraft this like thing that says I love you mom with all the like red bricks, and like he even like zoomed back and created a window so that you were like standing in a window looking out at it and you could see it with like snow falling. I'm like, dude, that was really, but like I was about to get mad at him for being on a screen again because I'm like, we're supposed to be getting ready for church. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, no, I made something for mom. And I was like, that was actually really sweet. And,
Totally
like,
thoughtful.
even just the fact that he wasn't satisfied with the piece of paper
Yeah.
that we printed out for mom, and like whether or
His
not it was
papers for
him,
old people.
whether it was like him thinking that mom deserves better than that, or I can do better than that for
Totally,
mom.
yeah.
Either way, there was some moment that he had
Absolutely.
all on his own to create this thing for her, and I was like, that's really special. Like I think she thought it was special too, but I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, like I don't like this is top notch for me. Like, great freaking job,
crushed it.
dude. Yeah, I killed it.
And like to be totally fair, like my wife is phenomenal, and I wouldn't be me without her. Like I totally think that she deserves the world, and all of these things are just literally me, like kind of how I feel in those moments. But the guilt, man, fucking got to me. Like I went and bought her, like I went and bought a washer dryer yesterday, spur of the moment, just washer and dryer.
Throw appliances
But the
at
vacuum
problem.
was too much.
It comes tomorrow because she hates the ones that we have.
Right.
And she's been gone for 2 days. So I had to go to Rona, and I'm like, I'm never at Rona, but like whatever. So I'm
Right.
there, and I'm like, but the thing, I'm like looking at washer dryers, and the person comes over and was like, is that the best price you can get? And I'm like, oh, I could do this. I was like, I'll take it.
Can you deliver tomorrow?
And then I was like, how early can you get? She's like, Thursday. I was like, I will be home Thursday. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we'll
The
do that.
guilt is a real thing, though.
Dude, it's fucking with
Like
me.
I feel guilty before the event even happens, like that I'm not gonna do enough that day to
Yeah.
make it special for her. Like
crazy.
And I think that's why Mother's Day comes before Father's Day every time of the year, because it's like whatever you put forth is you're getting on Father's Day kind of
I
thing.
was
It
told
sets the
that because
precedent.
fathers come all the like before mothers throughout the rest of the year.
that's not a
why they
fact.
didn't- No,
That's not a fact.
That should not be a fact.
just-
If that's a
I'm-
fact in your relationship.
guys, it was a dad joke. We're in the dad den.
Didn't land.
See,
Didn't
listen,
land, bro.
here's the thing.
we
You
take
said
that
it as a
seriously in
dad
the
joke.
dad den, all right?
And we know you
I
meant
was
it as a
testing
joke.
the water.
But there's people out there that don't prioritize their wives in that way, and they need to do better. So something that helped me with this year, because I am very much in that same boat as
Oh,
you
I
guys.
thought
so
you were
the
going to
guilt
talk
is
about that video that I sent you because it was a good segue.
That was you crushed that for Mother's
Yeah,
Day,
right? See?
What the fuck?
Are you kidding me?
I'm not
How
gonna do
high
that.
were you?
The DIY
Oh, that
charger.
was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was really good. I might have to try that. on
That
my
alone,
device.
you saved Mother's Day.
Yeah, that's saving your
gift
relationship
is
on Mother's Day.
giving.
I
This is
was
an
like-
inside joke that's not really landing on this podcast.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Maybe we could get into it. But anyway, again, communication being key. So though I just had to remove my ability to make myself feel the guilt. So this year, we need to normalize just talking to our partners. about
Totally.
things, right? Where like this year, I talked to her leading up to it because I was already getting that guilt leading up to the weekend of like, fuck, I didn't get you anything. I didn't get you a gift, but it's not, we don't get each other gifts regularly. Like we don't do
Yeah.
Christmas and all that.
Yeah.
So we sat down and I'm like, I still feel bad for not getting you a gift for this upcoming weekend. So we kind of just squashed it. And I was like, what do you want? Because I'm the type of person I will do or whatever, I will make it happen.
Yeah.
But I get the guilt because I'm like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, and then I do nothing. Where it's like, all she wanted was a sleep in on both days, and she wanted to go out on a date. And I was like, fucking right. I will check all of those things off the list, and she had a fantastic Mother's Day
Doesn't that
weekend.
make you
Yeah.
fall in love with her a little bit more, though?
100%.
When it's like you are putting so much shit on yourself, and then you're like racking your brain, and you're like, what is it that you need? And then they're just like the most like just
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like, I just need you and all of your attention, no screens, no phone, and you're just like, I can do that.
I can do that.
And a little extra sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You put that in, and that's a cherry on top.
But I think it's because we put pressure on ourselves to have to come up with the
Yeah.
spontaneous idea or to surprise them and stuff like that.
right.
Where
But is that because you want that yourself? Like, do you
maybe,
want that?
and
Well,
I think it might be different,
And it
for
could be
everyone.
hangover from dating too, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what we not had to do, but that's what
we did.
Our culture told us we should do when we're
To win them
wooing
over,
them, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you buy them gifts and you lavish
Yeah,
them
But I
on these
love
things,
that
right?
part of it.
It
too.
is fun.
Yeah.
But I think you get into the zone of, okay, now you're married, you've been together for 10 plus years. And it's like, okay, you don't want to fall into this category of I'm not doing anything for my wife because everything should just come easy because we've been married for 10 years. But you don't want to fall into the camp of now you're spending thousands of dollars on every event, right?
Fucking
kinda in
appliances,
this-
man. Oh my God. It needs to just stop.
And I
Right?
think it's the difference in person. I was just trying to like process that thought in my head where I'm the kind of person that if I say like I want a golf rangefinder,
Right.
Go.
I have a specific one in my mind that I would want to go and buy.
Yeah.
But then if your wife is like, oh, I'm going to get that for him for his birthday, and they get it for you and you open
Right.
it and you're like, great, like that's not the one I would have
Yeah.
bought, but I'm really happy I have that. Where I think that's why I want to know specifically what it is they want.
Yeah,
where,
word.
Yeah.
or even like going back to like your
You
childhood.
bought the
of-
wrong washer dryer, bro.
No,
But
but
like going back to your childhood of like
Yeah.
you really want a certain sweater or something, and then you end up getting the one from Walmart instead of the
Right.
one from whatever other store, and you're like, yeah, I know I said I needed a sweater, but like that's not the sweater.
I was really hoping
actually
for that
wanted.
sweater. Yeah.
Where I think in the past
Gift
I've
receipts.
had gift disappointment.
Right.
So then I worry that I'm going to be disappointing them with the gift that I'm
Yep.
getting.
see, my wife always says that I'm the most difficult person to shop for. Where I'm just like, I'm the easiest. I have like 4 hobbies. Give me something in any one of those hobbies, and I'm aces.
Yeah.
Like you don't have any hobbies, so it's impossible. I'm going bankrupt just trying to make you happy over here.
Right.
But to your point, every time she asks, I'm the type of person that if I want something, I just go buy it.
Yeah.
And I really want an axe, but I'm specifically not buying myself axes. Every time I go into an axe supplier, I look at them And I'm like, I could do it. I could scratch this itch right now and it'll all be over.
Yeah.
But I'm specifically not doing it because every time she asks me what I want for Father's Day or whatever, it was an axe. I would like an axe.
This is
A hickory handle axe.
You're specific.
19 inches long. That's as broad as I can go. And now I'm fucking worried that she's going to get the wrong one.
axe. Exactly.
This is my joke with my wife and I for Christmas. Is every year she asks me what I want for Christmas, and I say a new pillow, because I'm like, literally, if you got me a new pillow every year for Christmas, I would be happy.
You're a
like
happy guy.
I would love a new pillow, and I never get a new pillow.
Not once.
Really? It's funny.
And
you say
now
that.
it's just a joke to her.
Right.
Like every time I say it, I'm like, no, like I really just want a new pillow.
It's been 15 years, 15 pillowless years.
I have had a new pillow in that time span.
Well, that's
but
good.
It hasn't been a gift. It's been like, well, I'll just buy it myself.
I've asked the same thing where like I tried to make it easy. Where she's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I want Roots track pants every year for the rest of my life." Right? She's like, "That's expensive."
A fresh pair of
I was
Roots
like, "But you
track
get a
pants."
fresh pair every year. That's a great.
That's
a
not
great
bad.
gift. I'll even give like I'll donate my year old ones away." And we will recycle this, but like that's a great gift idea.
Absolutely.
And then she just looked. She's like, "That's expensive," and I was like, "Just the steam out of my nose."
You're gonna wear them almost every day. So
Almost. Yeah. I will wear
Exactly.
them every day.
Yeah.
I am in the era, like I can see this happening, and maybe it's because I'm in my mid 30-ishes, but like I get home or like the working day is done, work clothes come on, track pants are in.
comfy clothes on.
I was never that person before.
Track pants,
I would
tilly hat, and Crocs. Is that
Buddy.
your look?
Throw an axe over his shoulder and he's set.
I just tried on a pair of Crocs today for the first time. Don't knock it till you've tried it, my friend. Those things are friggin' comfortable.
They've never graced my feet.
I've never done it either.
My
they are really
father-in-law-
comfortable, but they're hideous.
My father-in-law has a pair, and I chirp him every time he wears them, and he's like, "They're the most comfortable." And then I was like, "Okay, I got to run out to the truck. I'm gonna put these on." And I was like, "Oh my god, I don't even want to know what sport mode feels like. I don't think I can
You
go
don't want
there."
to kick the buckle on.
Oh man, but that's another gift idea that you just like.
Throw on some Crocs.
But to me, it's pointless. Like gift giving, like. Gift cards, you might as well just say "fuck you." I hate everything. Like I don't even want to pay attention.
I
to
love
you.
gift cards.
I hate gift cards. I think they're the most meaningless gift you can
or
give
cash. Just give me straight
someone.
cash.
But that's I think
Are you? Because I think this is my thing where I feel bad to exchange something.
totally.
Where like if somebody buys me the gift but it's the wrong one kind of thing,
No, I'll
then I
exchange
feel
the
bad
shit out of
exchanging
that.
that because I feel like I'm
I take so much pleasure.
changing order in his
Oh, he says it to their face as he opens it. He's like, "I'm exchange this."
Over there, FaceTime. You
better have the receipt.
This is the one I wanted. All right, this one right here. What are you blind? Fucking idiot.
No, it's not really a problem because nobody buys me gifts like that. No,
But if you had the opportunity, you would
run into
exchange
that
it.
a lot as parents with when your kids get gifts and you're like, well, we're going to exchange this because they're
Right.
never going to
Yeah.
wear this.
Yeah.
And you kind of get cutthroat that way.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Hypothetically.
Just put it on the kids once, take a picture, and then exchange it for what you want.
Swap it.
But I am the type of person that now we are doing experiences for
Yeah.
gifts. So with my dad, it's like, well, I'm not gonna give him the same friggin' gift card every year. Like we're gonna we're gonna take him out for dinner and like stuff that we never really would have done, or like buy tickets to the zoo or something like that, so that we can make memories with the grandkids. I think that's much more valuable than a pair of socks or something.
Well, and that's what this Mother's Day ended up being for us, which I thought was fantastic. Because we did a date night on Saturday night. We went up to a local spot up in Brooklyn called Corrado's. Delicious meal. And then we went mini putting, and it was so
that's a
fun.
blast.
Where it was just like we were sitting at dinner, and she's like, "What are we doing after this?" And I'm like, "I gotta be honest with you, I only had dinner on schedule. Like I didn't think through much. I locked in this. So then we just kind of like shot around a bunch of ideas, and we were talking about going to a movie. And then she was like, "Wait a minute, isn't there like a mini putt place there?" I was like, "That would be hella fun. Like, I would love." She was like, "Yeah, I think I'd love that too." I was like, "Let's do it. Like whatever. Let's be teenagers." And literally we went. There's a young couple behind us that couldn't have been older than 15, and a young couple in front of us that are like 18, 19.
So
We're just like they're in like first date mode, and here we are like 11
adorable.
years into
That's so
marriage. But
awesome.
it was so much fun because we could just play around, be playful with each other, and like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
They
that
caught
is-
us making out a few times. It was awkward for them.
Hey, good for you. That's like
Getting
life
after it.
goals. If you're like a
end
teenager
goals
looking,
for
then
sure.
like,
Spice is
we can
life.
still okay. I like where this is
Relationship
going.
goals.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I was thinking we were going to kind of wrap this up, but before I was wrapping this up, I
have a question,
on
but
that
sure.
tone of what Joey was just saying. We've had some text conversations amongst our group about sex and about whether or not that's a conversation that you would want us to get into. And I was kind of curious about if that's something the listeners are struggling with, are going through, have questions or things that they would like to learn more about, where I feel like it's a conversation I would like to normalize more in my life. My wife and I have a good conversation in that world, but I feel like there's a lot of people that might be struggling with that. Joey and I had both listened to the Diary of a CEO podcast. I know we've been pumping it a
Oh my
lot in these
gosh.
few episodes.
Jesus.
But there is an episode
How much are they
with
paying
Dr. Karen Grooney, which was a very good episode that I would recommend listening to. But send us a DM if that's something that you would be curious to have us talk about. I know we say that we're really open in our lives as dads, as parents. And this is an area that I think we want to explore and talk about with people so that it can be a little bit more of a bigger subject. But if there are any specifics that you are wondering about or would like us to talk about, then let us know and slide into our DMs.
We want to start hitting some of those bigger subjects so that, yes, we're going to talk about the everyday dadding things that we do, but we also want to talk about the stuff that's important because we want there to be takeaways from this podcast for you guys as well. And for this to continue to feel like a spot where we're being open, we're being vulnerable, and we're having the conversations that you guys aren't having with your coworkers, the conversations that you don't get to have because you don't have those guys in your life that you feel like you can open up with. So we want to continue to be that and challenge ourselves to talk about things that maybe we might even be uncomfortable talking about.
And one
Sex,
thing that's
finance, and religion.
right, pump
The big
it,
three.
spend it, and burn.
Pray to
Anyways, I've really kind of shifted my mindset because before when I would put a lot of pressure on these conversations that we were having to be quote unquote good episodes,
Right.
and not good conversations. So I would find myself zoning out and really feeling like I had to kind of like
Perform.
yeah,
Yeah, I got you.
and not be as actively listening
Right.
as I have the last couple of weeks. And that's just me being transparent and honest and just kind of shifting things. And then when you go back and you listen to the conversations from my point of view, it's much more enjoyable. And I feel like it's more natural to be able to like feel what we're trying to do when you're coming at it from like an honest kind of standpoint. So I do think that it's important that we're like trying to drive home those messages and have those meaningful conversations, because when we leave here and I'm like reflecting on the drive home, I want to get something out of it, like an actual conversation. So in the grand scheme of things, I don't really care about the episode per se, as long as the conversation that we're having is worth the 3-hour fucking drive.
Right. Well, a lot of times, these conversations, a lot of guys have never had them. And I
Never.
can say that
Yeah.
for like experience for myself. Where like
Totally.
listening to these other podcasts and listening to specialists on these subjects, they'll say things that are commonplace for them because they've studied this, they've gone to school for it. And you just realize you're like, shit, nobody's ever said those words to me. And they're so simple. And they could have changed so much of my early relationship with my partner.
Right.
If I had have just known this stuff, but because it's so cliche to talk about, your parents don't end up talking to you about it for whatever reason. Where else are you ever going to get this information? Now, we live in a day and age where obviously there's a lot more access to information, which can be a good thing. But I think for men specifically, I'll say, because we don't typically have that best friend that will have these awkward conversations with, we just never friggin' have them.
Yeah.
So let's have them.
Yeah, well, I think because like we had, oh my god, I just blacked out. I was gonna say
There it is.
gone.
Oh, right there.
One thing
We had the.
One thing that I would be envious of the three of you is that we'll be having these conversations when we're in the moment. And then, thanks, man. And then you have like a light bulb moment,
Right.
and
Yes.
sometimes it happens. Like I see, like Brian be like, and every time when we leave, I'm like, fuck, I wasn't paying attention enough to catch that or get that light bulb moment.
Right.
But in the last couple of weeks, I've really felt like I've left fuller, or like
Yeah.
I've had those moments of like, oh, that makes total sense, or like you've gotten something from the conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just wanted to extend the appreciation and let you guys know that I think we are moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Even if no one else listens to it.
The thing I remembered was that. Fuck me.
No, you're not doing this. You're not doing this.
It's that.
You're not doing this.
Well,
It's there. It's that I think the reason why people are having a hard time talking to their kids about certain things.
I wish you would have ended it right there. That would have been so funny.
Well,
I was gonna say I think the reason why people are having a hard time talking to their kids about subjects like sex, finance, religion
Yeah.
is because they're not having those conversations themselves.
Right. You're
So
not
how do
practicing
you
it.
have that conversation with a kid if you've never even had that conversation with an adult? And especially like religion, like a lot of us have been having a lot of conversations about it with each other and just kind of struggling about that. But how often have you ever talked about that with your parents? Like it was never a thing that could be discussed even a lot of the times. But if you're not having, like, how do you have that conversation so that you can have it with your kids? And when a conversation like that is more normalized, then it allows for kids to have a different sense of growth, right?
Yeah.
Like if I had different knowledge behind sex before I got into marriage and all of that, I would have been better off, I think. There's a journey that we've gone on that's been great and we're in a very good place, but there's a lot of lessons that you learned along the way where if that conversation can become more normal, then it's not an awkward thing to have with a kid, to be able to teach them or educate them in different ways on things, to kind of like break down stereotypes and all of those different aspects. So I think that's one of the reasons why I want to talk about those things. Like
Right.
finances was never something that was really talked to me about as a kid. And I know, like, chatting with Brian recently, being like, fuck, like dadding and like becoming old is like growing up. Like there's a lot of things you need to learn about finances and planning and all of these things, like how to balance bank accounts and how to make sure all of those things are working. And I never had those conversations with my parents growing up, and it was finances, because you were going check to check, was something that was never talked about because you don't want to talk about it because it's embarrassing, because you're ashamed about it and you're struggling with all those things. But it's like, have those conversations so that people can learn and educate throughout it, right?
Tricky though, because you are very blessed to have an ecosystem that's on the same page and open-minded about it. And
Right,
not
yeah,
a lot
for
of
sure.
people have that.
Yes.
And I'm learning that now.
Yeah.
Not everybody thinks the same way or is geared the same way. And sometimes the advice that you need specifically is not what
yeah, that's a good point.
somebody else is capable of giving.
And that's why I would love to be able to get some experts in different areas,
Totally.
because like that podcast like covers a lot of different things.
They're not
in
a,
it.
it's not a good podcast.
There's
Our
something
podcast
in
is
it for
better.
everyone. I would highly recommend
You're
listening
a
to
fucking
it once
idiot.
this is
What are
done.
you doing right now? That was harsh. I'm really sorry. That I went real dark there. Yeah, it tasted salty when it came out of my mouth.
When
so
they
I
listen to
apologize.
it, they'll
You're not
realize-
an idiot, and I love you very much.
I love you too, Mark.
You're super skinny now. Oh my god.
Stop talking about.
okay, now you're going too far in the other
body.
direction. It's an
Thigh
overcorrection.
feels like an ankle right now. This
You're
is
making
like,
me
oh
uncomfortable.
my god.
That is difficult to do.
Chicken or
Size
go.
32 pants? Oh my god. Those are from shop class in grade 11 he's wearing right now.
But
Anyways,
when
go
they
ahead.
do listen to it, they'll hear that I stole his little intro
Yes.
about the percentage of people that have clicked that follow
Subscribe button.
So I had checked it up earlier, and 69% of our listeners listen on Spotify. And
99%,
Spotify, when
a
you're
great
on
number.
our page, there is a little follow button that you can click. And all you have to do is click that follow button. And the more that you do that, the more it helps the show. It gives us the
Really?
ability to reach more experts that we can have on here and more people as well. So
it
if
helps
you
the
can
algorithm because the more people that
click that.
follow us, it'll show up for other people along the way.
just
We're
help
just
us out.
living in an algorithm.
It's free.
Such a
It's
weird
free to
world.
click the button. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just letting people know that you like us.
Yeah. Can I try a different tactic?
Yeah.
Click the fucking button.
Okay.
Okay,
Wow,
no.
you fucking idiot.
Well,
I like it. I'm here for it.
We gotta
it
stop
needs to be a
swearing.
reward system because
You have to
apparently
stop
that's
swearing.
how we do things
reward
now.
system.
Oh yeah, no, I'll buy every single one of our subscribers.
Just end it before he says something stupid. Everybody gets washer and dryer.
I was
No, I was gonna say Toka Poka.
We're going reward system. We can go a different direction. We'll have a reward for you. Daddy's got a
Okay.
reward.
What are you, P
Found out
Diddy?
we have some.
Well,